Client meetings are essential for any life insurance agent. It doesn't matter how much you know about a universal life or a whole life or a term policy, if you're not meeting with your clients, you're not going to be as successful as you could possibly be. That's why it's important that you invest the time and effort into any client meeting you have. So in this video, we're going to go over the first part of a 3-part series that is dedicated on the client meeting and what you need to do before a meeting. Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Tristan Thomas and I'm with Tristom. And today what we're going to do is we're going to help set you up for success in your client meetings. And we're going to do so by focusing on certain items you need to do before that meeting to make sure it's that much more effective. And there's 4 main areas that we're going to address today. Now, when it comes to life insurance, we need to realize that life insurance should be sold face-to-face. So you need to have face-to-face meetings with your clients. This isn't car insurance we're talking about. Your client's not buying something on Amazon and just clicking a buy button. It needs to be done in person, and the reason why is because it's a very confusing and complex conversation. There's so many different thoughts about life insurance and negative connotations associated with life insurance that you need to address in order to sell that life insurance properly, to make sure that your client knows exactly what they're purchasing and why they're purchasing. And that's why it actually needs to be done in person. There's many agents out there that think that they can actually wing it, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. Even the most experienced agents out there will not be as successful as they'd like to be if they don't properly prepare. So let's go over 4 main items that you should be addressing every single time before you have that client meeting. Now, the first one is you got to know what your purpose is. Number 2 is you got to do your background intel. Number 3 is building an agenda. Make sure you build an agenda. And lastly, number 4 is my favorite, and it is you must develop a wish, a want, and you gotta have a gotta have. And I'll explain exactly more in detail about all 4 of these items that you must be addressing. Number 1 is know the purpose of that meeting, right? Be able to write down exactly what the theme of this entire meeting is. And it boils down to exactly what is your objective in this meeting, but most importantly, what do you believe your client's objective would be? What are their concerns that they may want to address? Because regardless of what your agenda might be, if your client has certain concerns, they're going to want to have those addressed first. So be able to focus on what you believe their objectives are and be able to prepare properly for that. And also be able to answer this question with a flat out yes. Has a need for life insurance been established? Right? And if so, how does life insurance fit? How does that need of the client make life insurance the solution to fill that need? Because if you don't know exactly what your client's need is, then you shouldn't be talking to them about how life insurance works. Many agents out there, what they'll do is ask 1 or 2 questions and think that they should just then spit out everything they know about life insurance. It doesn't work like that. Ask as many questions as you possibly can to develop and understand their true need and see how life insurance can be a solution for that need. Number 2 is do your background intel. This should be fairly easy to do. Know a little bit more about your client, right? What do you know about their age, their job, their family history? Maybe they have certain family members that you're fond of. Whatever it might be, have a list down of exactly what you know and what you want to know. Because in that meeting, you're going to be able to ask them more questions to find answers to these specific questions. And also understand exactly what happened in previous meetings with your clients. What was said and what was covered and why. There's nothing worse than sitting in a meeting with a client and rehashing what you had already discussed. 1, you're not being as effective as you could be in that meeting. And 2, you're not being as efficient. Everyone is busy, right? Why waste your client's time with talking about things you already discussed beforehand? And another piece that you should be focusing on is exactly how did that last conversation end? What was the mood in the room? Was your client happy? Were they angry? Because it's going to allow you to know what you're walking into with that next meeting. So Know the mood of the previous conversation. Number 3, what you got to do is you got to build an agenda as well too. Unfortunately, many agents out there will skip this. They think if they know exactly what their objectives are, then that's it. But unfortunately, it's not that way. What we need to do is realize exactly these are the main points that I'm wanting to cover in this. And this is what I intend to discuss. And I got to also think about it from my client's perspective as well too. What does my client hope to achieve in this meeting? I may not have the answer to that question, but I can plan as though I do, because that's going to then prepare me for questions that may arise in that meeting. But if I don't put myself in my client's shoes, then I'm not going to be prepared as I could be for that meeting. And another item too is you want to make sure that the meeting, the agenda, only focuses on one particular topic from you. You're not going to be sitting in that meeting for an hour or 2 hours with your client talking about several different things, especially if the main focus is on life insurance. Your client will only want to focus on one item, and life insurance should be that one item from your point of view, right? So one topic should be discussed by the agent, but before any of that, you need to focus on exactly what your client is wanting to focus on. What concerns, again, do they have that need to be addressed in this meeting? Right? Realize that this meeting is not about you. It's not about your objectives. It's not about your agenda. It's not about your quota that you're trying to hit or whatever it might be. It's about understanding more about that client and what they're looking for. If we can serve our clients better, we're going to be that much more successful as agents. And number 4 is we gotta have a wish, a want, and a gotta have. And what do I mean by a wish, a want, and gotta have? These are items that you should be wanting to accomplish in that meeting. Always strive for your wish. This is in essence what your dream case scenario would be. What it needs to be done in that meeting for it to be the ideal meeting, right? Maybe your client needs to sign on the dotted line, write a check, and set up the underwriting meeting. Whatever it might be, that should be the item that you're aiming for in that meeting. Also develop what your want is. That is what you can consider to be a good meeting. What certain criteria do you need to check off in order to say, you know what, we're moving forward. That was a good meeting and we can continue down the road. And number 3, because every meeting is not going to go as you had planned, is we gotta have a gotta have. And this is the least amount of traction that is needed in that meeting in order to see some progression. This is something that you can hang your hat on to say, you know what, at least we got this taken care of, and we're not just sitting idle and wasting our time. So before any meeting, develop your wish, develop your want, and develop your gotta have, and write those out. Now, again, going over the 4 musts that must be done before any meeting is number 1, know exactly what your purpose is. Why are you even having that meeting? Number 2, do your homework. Know as much as you possibly can about the client. And if you don't know much about the client, write down items that you want to focus on in that meeting. Number 3, build an agenda. What do you need to do or what do you want to do in that meeting to make sure that you're as efficient as you possibly can be? And lastly, is you got to develop a wish, a want, and a gotta have. This is what you're going to make sure or you can gauge the success of that meeting on. Aim for the wish and be content with falling on the gotta have. Now, with all of this and going into the part 2 of a 3-part series, which will be the meeting itself, we must understand as agents that it's about listening to our clients. Unfortunately, most people, they don't listen to understand. They just wait to reply. Your client might be talking and then you're articulating what you're going to say. That's not what a successful agent would do. A successful agent would actually listen to what the client has to say and by what the client says, develop the need there and how a solution that you can offer can fill that need. Now, my name is Tristan Thomas and I'm with TristTom. And if you haven't checked out TristTom.com yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. We're here to be your one-stop shop for all of your life insurance agent needs. Now, at tristom.com, what we're doing is we're providing life insurance sales training just like this video, and we're actually on that website going to give you part 2 of 3, which will be how to conduct a life insurance sales meeting, as well as part 3 of 3, how to follow up properly with your clients. Also, we provide case management consulting with a one-on-one case management consultant that would actually go over the exact case you're working on and provide different ideas that you may not have thought of before. We also have a complete client relationship manager. Think of it as a simplified Salesforce to make sure that you never lose any of your client files ever again. And also for the independent agents out there, we have a GA that we contract through that has access to over 70 different carriers. So if you're looking to take an extra leap or finding a different GA, we can set you up to make sure that you have many carriers out there for your clients. Now, all of this is completely free to sign up at tristom.com. So do yourself a favor, check out www.tristom.com. And at the very least, all I'm asking you to do is subscribe below as we provide videos just like this to make sure that we can help you become a better agent. Thank you and have a wonderful day.